G'day, and welcome to Alpha Smelting. Today we're going to start on another pile of scrap that Sam has been building for some time. Aluminium cans. As you can see, we have a different crucible from last time. This is a cutoff from a capped pipe that was galvanized. We removed the galv as best we could and burnt out the rest before starting this process. Today's warning comes early. Some of you may know that you should not heat galvanized steel. When heated, it releases zinc fumes, which can be noxious, so always be aware of what you're heating and take precautions. Needless to say, we took those precautions. Our crucible is already packed with cans. This crucible is a little larger than the actual can circumference, but the moment you crush it, the shape balloons, preventing you from placing it in easily. Once we deal with these crushed cans, we'll move on to the easier ones. It's best to place your furnace on a level surface. Sam has already made me some more tongs, so I don't have to put my hand into the furnace, even if it is protected by a welding glove. I've done some fancy editing. All I've done is removed all the lid opening and closing here. Some of you may have seen clips on the internet asking whether if melting cans is actually worth it. What they are referring to is the fact there is a lot of other materials on cans, such as the paint on the outside, epoxy resin that coats the inside, and nearly 5% of the can is other materials, including magnesium, silicon, iron, copper, zinc, and manganese. All these other particles are present in the dross and bind up some of the aluminium, reducing the yield. Seeing though we had trouble with boiling other elements last week, we are being extra careful and using the lowest temp required to melt the cans. Aluminium melts at a fairly low temperature of 660.3 degrees Celsius. We don't have a high temp laser thermometer, so we're using the lowest flow from the gas pressure valves. Researching this topic was a particularly deep rabbit hole that I fell down. Anyone familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect? Leave a comment. And that's the last of today's raw material. There's going to be a lot of slag today. Must keep pan out of the way next time. There ended up being a lot of slag stuck to the walls and bottom of the crucible. Carefully dislodging it caused the slag to rise to the surface. Before removing the slag, the crucible was nearly full. Now, it's only about half full. That seems about right. With that slag removed, we can finally get around to pouring. But first, always preheat your molds. We do this to prevent steam explosions when we pour molten metal into the molds. Any moisture that's left on it will rapidly boil and then explode. Thumbs up. Different crucible, different tongs. Whoops. This one ends up having a muffin top. And this one comes out just right. The remaining material will end up in the next smelt. Something I've learned in my short experience is molds with slope walls would mean you can remove them much easier than straight walls. I'll be getting different molds once these have reached the end of their lifespan. This bigger ingot just doesn't want to come out. First, the smaller ones. Sam's chickens have come to investigate. I'm about to do something very silly. Don't do this. Putting graphite molds into water isn't an issue. What is an issue is when the water moves down the sides of the ingot and molds. The expanding gases need to go somewhere. That can result in a small explosion. If you look carefully, the ingot almost jumps out of the mold. Finally. As you can see, the heat from the mold has already evaporated the moisture off its surface, but I'll be doubly sure to preheat this mold for next time. Just a simple wire brushing this time. I did much the same to the other ingots. And here are the results. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next alpha smelting vid.